Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is Wednesday morning and it's time for the Ask Sharon segment. And it's my honor to be with you again this Wednesday. I'm actually, as soon as I finish this, I have a webinar that I invite you to attend as well. It's your wealth plan. Angela's going to type into the comments on how you can join us. That starts promptly at 11 o'clock. And then I'm off to San Diego to do some events and some writing and get myself focused on continuing to play big and continuing to pull the things together. And that's why I'm here with you is to share with you the things that I'm doing to play big. And so today's commentary and the questions that we've been getting is how to get out of your own way. And boy, that is usually the biggest issue that we have. It might be lack of passion for what we're doing, avoidance, procrastination, could be lack of the right environment. One of the reasons I'm going to San Diego, not only to speak at these events, but to stay there for a couple of days to really finish up some writing that I've literally been avoiding. I have to get it done. And so I need to get in the environment that's best suited for me. And typically all my writing I end up doing over in the San Diego area with the water as my view. The ocean is kind of like food for my soul. And so I need to get out of my own way, meaning I have to get out of the day-to-day stuff that can easily distract. We talk about shiny object syndrome. Well, in our day-to-day life, we tend to, if we're kind of not wanting to face a particular task, we'll find anything to keep us do something else. So you need to get out of your own way by setting a time block of when you're going to accomplish. So Monday and Tuesday of next week are my writing days that I have to get some things done. In fact, I was hoping for the whole week, but then I now have an opportunity to go down to Florida to speak at CEO Space next weekend. So I'm going to grab that opportunity as well, because that's like an extended family. So this weekend, on Friday, I'm speaking at an event, and I'll have Angela put that information there as well. And then next Tuesday night, I'm speaking at Stephen De La Cruz's Mastermind. So 2 events in San Diego, and Angela will post those links for both of those if you're interested in coming to see me. I'd love to see you. I love San Diego. It actually is where I was born. And so I think there's something inside me that gets energized when I go back there. My dad was in the Navy, so we didn't live there very long. I don't remember being there as a baby, but the Balboa Navy Hospital is still there. It's really unbelievable. But I love it. It's a great place to be. And it's certainly, right now, I love my home. I love Phoenix, but when it's 112 degrees, it's kind of nice to go to San Diego where it's not 110 degrees, 112 degrees. So, but let's talk about getting out of your own way. Procrastination is an easy one to think about, put it off till tomorrow. But a lot of times, stopping yourself from achieving the success you want can come from fear. And that fear is something that maybe we don't even recognize. We talk about fear of failure, but sometimes there's a fear of success. What will people think? Do I really want to put myself out there? And that comes back to reigniting your burning desire, your passion, that burning desire. So it was, as many of you know, December of '92 when I made the dedication of my career to financial literacy, because my oldest son had gotten into credit card debt. And it was out of anger. We talk about love what you do what you love. Well, sometimes passion comes from anger. And I was angry that we weren't teaching our kids about money in school. And that passion, that burning desire is as strong today as it was back in '92. And so ask yourself, what is your burning desire? Because that's what's going to help you focus. Because the way we get out of our own way is to focus and to set those goals and to put them in writing and make us see them every single day. Same thing, habits, they say it takes 3 weeks to form a new habit. Well, for me, it's usually several years, but bad habits hold us back. in fact, in Outwitting the Devil or something, we talk about hypnotic rhythm. And so if you get into a habit of procrastinating, you get into a habit of not doing something, that becomes a habit. And so to break it, you have to start doing the right thing. And the more you do it, then that hypnotic rhythm, all of a sudden, you're going to be doing the right thing instead of the wrong thing every day. So in the comments today, I want you to share with me the things that you are doing, the things that kinds of things you've seen other people that are holding them back. Because a lot of times it's nothing more than just fear of success. And also, not wanting to be wrong. That's something you don't hear very often, because a few of us are type A personalities. Huh? How many of you? A few of us are type A personalities, and a few of us have a tendency not to want to be wrong. We want to be right all the time. And you certainly don't want to be seen as being wrong. All right. And so when we first started this Play Big movement, I have my hands up in the air because I'm going to talk about this. I started working, as I share with you, I'm working with these agents out of New York, and they said, Sharon, are you willing to listen to our feedback? And I'm going, well, yeah, why I'm hiring you. Why wouldn't I listen to your feedback? And they said, well, you've reached a certain level of success. And a lot of times they didn't say this, but the term old dogs, new tricks came to mind. And I think that's what I was hearing them say. That isn't what they said. But I remember Steve, one of the guys I work with, he says, well, sometimes people aren't willing to listen when they think they've learned how to do it one way. And I said, well, I got that. I understand that. I said, but I want to play big again. And I know that the way you do things correctly today are not the way we did them 5 years ago, even 10 years ago, even last year. Things have changed. And so we made that commitment. And one of the things he challenged me with was, he says, you're such an authority. And I teach people to become the authority. You're such the authority. And you are such a great teacher. We want you to be more vulnerable. And it was pretty funny. And I've shared this a couple times. I couldn't even say the word vulnerable. I stuttered the word. And for me, it was hard. I've been, when you've spent your life becoming an expert and an authority, and sharing, the greatest goal you want is to share with your audience, your customers, so that they can take those lessons and improve their lives. And to be vulnerable was, it was like, but that's my issue, my story. And it's been really magical for me, because as I've been more open, more transparent, and shared the impact the loss of my son has had on me, I've had nothing but deeper connection with the people that I work with, and the audiences that I'm in front of, and the individuals that I have the honor and pleasure of working with directly. And so it's been a huge gift to me. And Steve, if you're watching this, thank you. And it's something that I continue to work on it. All of us, you wanted to be the authority, the master, and now it's more like being just real. And I've always thought that I was real and approachable, but now even sharing the dark side has made it even more meaningful, not just to my audience, but to me as well, because I feel that rawness, which is authenticity. And I'm being told I need to move my microphone, so I'm going to do that. So this is my rawness and my authenticity, so that you can hear me better. So here I'm coming with my microphone so that you can get it better. There we go. And I think that should help a little bit. All right. So when we talk about being vulnerable, that's part of getting out of your own way, right? Because we get in our own way because we have this expectation of how we're supposed to be, this expectation of how we want to be perceived. And when we let that sit in front of our mind, then we're not really present. And so by being present, you can get out of your own way. So I have a few questions today I'm going to hop into. The first one, my name is Coco and I'm 36. I work in a small entrepreneurial office for a pair of business owners. I enjoy what I do and I've been able to develop my own expertise. I'm asked a lot when I'm going to start my own thing, and although I definitely want to do that, I don't think the time is right for my family. My gut tells me my time will come, but someone recently challenged me that is it fear talking to me or is it what I really feel? Do you agree? Okay, do I agree that it's fear? Well, it could be. I think one of the questions is your risk tolerance. So are you dependent on your paycheck to make things meet for your family? Because certainly when you have a family and children, a lot of entrepreneurs put it all on the line and they can still go to bed and sleep at night. Others have a problem with that. And so I ask you to think clearly on what you can do. Now, if you are married, I think you said you have, you said for your family, so I'm assuming you're married and have kids. Maybe your husband or your spouse or your partner has an income that gives you a little bit of a cushion. But if you're the only one making money in your family, it's hard to be an entrepreneur when you're stressed out about money. And so start doing your own thing on the side, as long as it's not a conflict with what you're being paid to do as an employee. Do it with an open conscience and maybe start building that on the side. Dedicate, again, time block. Each and every one of us, if we start tracking how we use our time, can probably find 10 to 15 hours a week that we could dedicate to something new, establishing a new habit, a new occupation. And so I would say that should be your first step. Start outlining what it is you would do for others, how you would start your own business, and then start doing it part-time, as long as it's not a direct conflict for what you do for your paycheck. And that's something that only you can answer. But sometimes it's just taking that first step. You're turning that dream you have into a reality. And part of it is is to change how you spend your time and start doing something different. And that alone is something that can be powerful, because you'll start seeing the results right away and you'll start feeling better about yourself. I was talking to someone yesterday about a situation they're going through, and just reframing it and saying, let's take some action to do something that would be better and around other people will help change your frame of mind. Without going into the story, it's dealing with a situation here, but let's go over here when a group really loves you and respects you, and spend some time over there, because that's going to help you feel better. So what are you feeding your environment? How can you create a better system to support you in achieving what you want to achieve? So that's step number one. Take a little time for yourself and start taking that dream and making it a reality. Next question. Hello, Sharon. My name is Michelle. I'm a stay-at-home mom to a 9-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son. I have several friends who have approached me about their home businesses. Until recently, none of them appealed to me. But a girlfriend shared one with me that is focused around a fun product. I signed up and have been reviewing some of the company training, making me realize how much of my success is going to be based on my online activity. This is terrifying to me because I'm not a super public person. I've been stalling and taking the first steps outlined in my training. How do you get started when something terrifies you? Well, Michelle, I bet there's a few of us here that can certainly feel your fear, because that's we've all been there. And I've talked on several other of these Wednesday mornings about stepping outside your comfort zone. And certainly your fear may be because you're a lack of being online experience, or your fear may be from social interaction. So let me talk about each of those individually. All right, your fear of social interaction actually can help be mitigated because you're online and you're not having to get in the car, get dressed up and go, but you can do it actually as I'm doing it with you today. And so it's a little easier to have that interaction when you can do it online. But your fear of being online may be just a lack of knowledge and a lack of experience, similar to me having to move my microphone. I have my team around me. I have Angela there saying, Sharon, your volume's not as high as it should be. Let's make an adjustment. And so my goal is to have quality information. I want to make sure that I do the best job I can. That's why I have a team around me. And so taking some courses or learning how best to present and to share your expertise online will help you get over that fear. So fear is sometimes a lack of knowledge, a lack, stepping outside your comfort zone into the unknown. And, my philosophy of why not is why not do something different? And so by me making that decision this year to play big again, there was fear involved because it's like, okay, I'm financially free. I don't have to do this, but I want to do this. I still have this burning desire to support other people becoming financially free. And how can I best do that? And I can best do that through an online environment. And so, yes, I'm still speaking. I'm still traveling the globe doing live seminars and speaking to people. But truly, I think the greatest impact I can make is continuing new books, which I'm doing, as well as this online initiative and this online course, the Play Big Movement course that we are launching. And it's something that we each have this opportunity to continue moving forward. And in fact, if you, I know Angela's put in the comments about the webinar, and I'm so happy to see all of you joining us. Thank you. And it's the course we're going to be launching that, and I'm going to be talking about that in the webinar that is at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time today, 2 o'clock Eastern. So please, you still have time to register for that because we opened it up, so it was sold out, and now we've opened it up to a larger audience. So, and it's so much fun to be able to pull this together and to really share with you guys the things that I'm doing, the things that I've done, and how I've done them so that it can trigger things that you might be able to do and take what you've already created and take it to a larger audience. And so make sure you join us at 11. Next question. So Coco and Michelle, I hope that that's given you some support because that fear is something that each one of us needs to address. My name is Rick, and I run a small advertising agency in Chicago. I've worked hard to grow my business, but years of long hours and time away from my family, boy, don't we know that one, has taken a toll on my relationships. I can see that I need to change the way I operate in order to fix my marriage, but so much of my business relies on me being there. Where do you recommend are the first steps to pulling myself out of my business a little at a time? Well, Rick, pulling yourself out of your business, that's quite a phrase because if you're the only person in your business, then you're going to have a financial stress. I think where this comes from is open communication with your spouse, if that's a situation that's happening and you're working more hours than you do. Again, it comes back to time blocking, maybe starting a weekly date. Things where you can focus on the marriage instead of the business, because so many times we have these things attached to us and we're not paying attention. Or there'll be times when I'm watching TV with Michael, but it's a show that he loves and I don't care for it so much, and I may have my computer with me, but I'm with him. And those are things that are important to me, that I have time with my husband. And so making that commitment and that open communication. And then as it relates to the business, so many times we are too busy working in our business and not working on our business. And so you shared with me that you're an advertising agency. You run a small advertising. You don't tell me how many employees you have. But one of the things that when we build something as an entrepreneur, sometimes we don't like to let go, and that's how we get in our own way. We still feel like we have to do everything. And so I ask you, are there things that you're doing right now that you can delegate? Is there an employee that has stepped up to the plate and they have the opportunity for more responsibility? Can you bring someone in, find somebody else that has a small advertising firm that you guys can work together so you can play off of each other and give each other a little more free time without cutting into your revenues? because that's something that you have to pay attention to. It's, it's one of these give and take. When you are an entrepreneur, the first few years of building a business is a 24/7 initiative, whether you like it or not. That's part of it. But that's when you're building that intrinsic value of your business. So make sure you're building a business, not a job, because it sounds like you might have created a job for yourself as opposed to a business. So you want the business, you want to have people there that can support you and can stand in for you when you need to be with your family. So ask yourself, what rings true from what I've shared? And I want everyone that's listening, because many of you probably share this same issue that Rick has, and that is, working so much in your business, you're not working on your business. Having that overall strategy as to what you want your business, how you want it to grow, what are your goals, what are your short-term and long-term goals, and don't forget to celebrate your little wins. Next question. This is Peter, writing from Dublin. Oh, I love Dublin. I need to come back. I haven't been there in a few years. I'm a coach for small business owners and have reached my capacity for how many clients I can provide service for at a time. I love what I do. I do not want to step out of the coaching part of the business, but I also want to continue to grow my business. This means bringing in an additional coach or finding a way to streamline what I do with my clients so that I can help more businesses. When the nature of the business is personal interaction, is there still a way to scale? Well, Peter, that's a great question. And I bet there's, tons of coaches out there that have that same issue. And yes, you can scale, but you only have so many hours in the day and in the week. So how can you share your expertise and deliver that interaction? Well, one of the ways I'm doing that is right now, ask Sharon. And we have the opportunity for you to ask questions here in the chat box. And we would love to see you do that, because that's where we know that we're making the greatest impact. And so you can come into the private Facebook group on the Play Big movement with Sharon Lechter. We would love that. You have an opportunity to ask questions there, or on these, when we're doing these conversations. I want to see what you're what you're thinking, how I can support you, and what's the next step that I can do to support you in what you're trying to achieve in your own business, in your own life, because it is really one big life. If talk about that work-life balance. Well, I want you to achieve the greatest success. And how can you do that? You can do that by being focused on what it is you want to accomplish, and by building assets along the way, assets that can leverage your expertise. And that's what we're talking about in this webinar at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard, and that is how to take your ideas and monetize your expertise. And so that's where we want you to know that we are absolutely dedicated to supporting you in creating assets so that you can start building a business around your expertise. So when you start creating those assets, then you're still serving your clients. You're providing ways for them to come back to you and ask questions, so they still have that personal interaction. And I'm so excited to see everybody online. Debbie, I love it. I'm coming your way, and I know you're going to be out of town. And Ken Walls, always a pleasure to see you, my dear. And John Oliver, excited to have you. And I know Karen's with us. My goal is always to support all of you in what you're doing and in the questions that you have. And we can't support you if you don't ask the questions. So take action and let us know what we can do to support you. And then, so Peter, again, you're a great coach, but how can you take, my guess is if you take 5 of your clients, and you think about what process you went through with each of them, there's probably some similar issues that came up, similar questions that you asked, similar exercises you had them do. So take that and create a product that can support you, and maybe you can provide a group coaching session if you're now doing one-on-one. But again, that's still your time. So how can you do something where you can facilitate your expertise and create an online course? I'm doing blogs so that you can still have the ability to share your expertise. And then we're going to be talking about that more when we get to the webinar. So let me see, we have the last question here. Hello, Sharon. I am an independent contractor providing creative services. I connect with clients primarily through third-party online platforms. Although it's an easy way to find jobs, I can definitely make more money going direct. I don't have a social media following to speak of or a large audience to market to. How do I start putting myself out there so that people can find me? Well, I think this is a great, great question, and I don't see a name attached to it. So I'm going to just talk to us about when you are an independent contractor and you're getting your clients through third-party sources. A lot of that will depend on the contract that you sign with your third-party source. And so I would recommend you get testimonials from the people you've done work with, as long as you're allowed to do that through that third-party initiative. And start building your online presence. And you can do that through Facebook, through having a website, doing Google My Business page. That's hugely supportive in that, because when somebody Googles what they're looking for and your name pops up, then they have an opportunity and a way to get to you right away. But most importantly, you start building your credibility by the product that you're creating and getting those testimonials, and then asking them to share with their network. If they're happy with your work, then that's the greatest sort of source of marketing, is referrals. And so ask them to share it with their network, and then make it easy for people to find you. A lot of people, when it's hard work to find somebody, that you give up. You got to make it easy, particularly in today's world when things are so readily available online. So get yourself out there through LinkedIn, through Facebook, and make sure you're using the right keywords to attract those people, and start writing blogs, doing podcasts. And again, these are all things we're going to be talking about in the webinar. So come back and share with us, because again, as I wrap up with Coco and Michelle, Rick, Peter, and the gal providing creative services, it's a lot of similarities in the questions we've had today. And that is, really taking a step back and looking at where you are, as strategically and as really without the emotion, if you can, and say, have I created myself a job? Or have I created a business? And how can if I haven't, and I'm in the job category, what steps do I need to do to create the business? And that's through systems, and that's through our course, Essential Components of a Successful Business. All of those things help take you to where you need to go. And that is to focus your energies in building a business, an asset that can be stronger and bigger, even if you're not there. And that's using other people's money, other people's time. And as long as it's your expertise that's on the line, then you have to figure out how to deliver your expertise through something other than face-to-face. Because face-to-face is wonderful. It should be your highest ticket price, because that is your time and you're selling your time. And the more you can make yourself available and accessible in a very larger format, the more you've created a business, and that you have the ability to serve many people as opposed to just one-on-one. And as we bring this segment to a close, I want to remind you that the whole Play Big movement, and why I'm sharing this with you today, is what I'm doing. I'm creating a new course. The podcast just launched. If you haven't listened to the Play Big podcast, please do. And I'm sharing what I'm doing so that you can do it as well, and that you'll know the resources and the things that I'm doing to create my new initiative. And the play is about being number one in your field. It's about living your legacy, creating it and living it, and creating maximum impact. And so thank you for being with me today. And I would really appreciate you sharing this with your network so that others can come in. And also I invite you, tomorrow I'll be talking to the private Facebook group, Play Big Movement with Sharon Lechter, from location in San Diego. So hopefully I'll see you there. Thank you so much. Take care.